All right, let's talk about this video quickly, about this one.
You need to warm up your truck before you start it. Worst thing you can do with a diesel, besides not changing the oil properly, is sit here and let it idle.
I'm sure you guys have all seen that video. I'm sure of it. Anyways, should you idle your truck or should you not idle your truck? That is the question. And the answer is yes, you should idle your truck a little bit. Not a lot, but a little bit. If you take this is right out of the Cummins manual. It's 3 to 5 minutes. It wants you to idle for 3 to 5 minutes. Now, also something you got to take in consideration is the temperature outside and then the oil you're running. The oil viscosity that you're running. Because that definitely plays a part in this scenario, right? So that truck that Dave was firing up there, it wasn't cold out when he started that truck. I can tell by the sound of that truck that it was not cold. If it was cold out, they are angry. I don't care if it's brand new, if it's got a brand new engine in it, it doesn't matter. They're angry. You know, when you get into, I'm going to talk in Fahrenheit just because lots of you guys are in Fahrenheit, but if you're minus 40, you don't start that truck, drop it into drive, and drive. Now, that being said, there is some caveat to that. Do you have it plugged in? Does it have an oil pan heater? If you have both of those things, you do not have to idle it near as long because you need to let stuff move and warm up a little bit, because if you don't, you will have problems. If you have a solid block of oil that doesn't really move around and you fire the truck and blah, brr, brr, right away, guess what? Oil doesn't move when it's minus 40 very well, and you tend to screw shit up. If you take a 5.9 Cummins, they'll actually spin the gear on the shaft for the oil pump, and then you don't have an oil pump. And your engine blows up. And then you're like, oh, I don't know what happened. So there is some caveat to that. Now, there's also this, which is right out of the Cummins service manual. If you're looking at that, it even actually tells you, like, this is for B series Cummins, and it's for the older Cummins, but the new stuff, it's basically the same. Your oil clearances are the same. They basically run the same oil pump. Now, a lot of guys aren't running 1540 in them, especially in the 19 plus stuff, because of the hydraulic lifter garbage. They have problems with that. And yeah, anyways, if you have one of those, delete the hydraulic lifters. They're garbage. But here nor there, if it's really cold out, it actually is telling you that you want to have your block heater, you want to have an oil pan heater, and then sometimes you're going to use starting fluid. And now anything common rail, if it doesn't start, it doesn't need starter fluid. There's something wrong. It should start, especially if it's plugged in with a block. If it's plugged in with a block heater and it's got an oil pan heater, that thing should start. No questions about it. It should start, no problem. But now, if it's really cold out, you take, looking at this chart, you're looking at this chart, now it's talking in Fahrenheit. Well, I guess it has Celsius on it as well. So you're looking at that chart at 0 degrees Fahrenheit. It's telling you that you need so anything below, according to the way Cummins wants it, anything below 32 Fahrenheit, it wants you to have the block heater plugged in. Okay, I think that maybe is a little stretching, especially with common rail stuff. But anything below 10 degrees Fahrenheit, it's suggested to have block heater and oil pan heater. And then anything below minus 10 Fahrenheit, it says it's required for oil pan heater and block heater. Okay, there again, like I said, common rail stuff, you shouldn't have to hit it with ether. Even a 12 valve, if you have a block heater, if you taking any of the VEs, they'll start. If they'll roll over, they'll start. But you take a P pump with a little bit of timing in it. If you have a block heater plugged in, you have the oil pan heater, and you have a battery minder, which I recommend having. So when you plug it in, all three of them plug in. Intake heater twice, the thing will start. Like you take my trucks over the years, 18, 20 degrees, they always started plug it in. Twice on the intake heater, always started. No questions asked. They did. But when you take, this is out of the Cummins manual, it's telling you 3 to 5 minutes. I'm going to go with what they have to say at a minimum, not jump into it and drive away. And I don't think that's what Dave was really intending in the video. Some of that I think was kind of taken out of context, whether it was by his editors or, they were doing it maybe on the social media side of things to stir up the pot. Anyways, it's one of those things. I've had a bunch of guys email me and a bunch of guys send me messages on Instagram asking about it. So that's my point on it. Also, too, some of it's on what you're running for oil. Now, I know most guys are running synthetic oil just fine. I primarily don't run synthetic oil. I usually run conventional oil, but there again, my truck is plugged in, oil pan, heater, and it has the battery minder on it. So the oil's not cold, the engine's not cold, all that jazz. Now, if you're running in really cold temperatures, if you're up here in Canada, northern Canada, or the northern United States, or in Alaska, I personally would probably be running, as long as the engine's broke in and it's all kosher that way, I would be running 540 or 040 engine oil when it's really cold out. And then, in the summertime, you can switch that around. But you want to make sure you're staying there again. This is all my opinion. If you run Shell Rotella, don't change brands of oil. Keep continuing the same brand of oil, just change your viscosity and stay with you can do a 1540 synthetic and you could go right down to a 040 in the wintertime synthetic, but stay the same brand, say that T6, or if you're using Valvoline. I actually think I'm going to switch to Valvoline, I think. When I switch, I'm actually going to switch some of my stuff over to synthetic, I think, anyway. But we'll talk about that in another video. But anyways, I hope this helps some guys out. Hopefully you don't blow your truck up because you jumped into it like a monkey and went brrrr and like ripper. But, like if you guys are like that, make sure you have my card. I can build you a new engine. So catch you on the next one.